a million miles from Earth, suspended in the cold emptiness of space. The James Webb Space Telescope drifts like a golden sentinel. Its massive honeycomb mirrors, gleaming with sunlight, stare into the abyss, capturing light that has traveled billions of years just to reach its sensors. Every pixel of data it sends back carries the weight of human ambition, decades of planning, countless setbacks, and a staggering price tag of $10 billion. For generations, astronomers dreamed of building a telescope powerful enough to peel back the curtain of time itself to glimpse the first galaxies, the birth of stars, and maybe even hints of life beyond our fragile world. Webb was the answer. To that dream, the culmination of human patience, genius, and daring. And yet, despite all the preparation, despite the expectations carefully built into its mission, nothing could have prepared scientists for what it actually found. Because amid the swirl of distant galaxies and the glow of ancient stars, Webb captured something that should not exist, an image so baffling, so impossible, that it instantly ignited both awe and fear in the scientific community. Then, Webb revealed an object unlike anything astronomers had ever seen before. At first glance, the new Webb images looked like any other breathtaking snapshot of the distant universe whirling galaxies, clusters of stars and rivers of light, stretched thin by the sheer scale of cosmic time. But buried within the frame was something that didn't belong. It wasn't the beauty of the object that startled astronomers, but the defiance it showed against everything textbooks had claimed for decades. There it was. A structure so massive and so ancient, it shouldn't have been able to exist in the young universe. According to current models, galaxies of that size simply didn't have the time to form so soon after the Big Bang, and yet Webb sensors captured it with chilling clarity. At first, researchers whispered about a calibration error, some kind of technical hiccup in the telescope's sensitive instruments, but when independent teams ran the data again and again, using multiple filters and instruments, the same signal kept shining through. It was no illusion, no glitch. The universe was presenting something that science itself said was impossible. The more they looked, the deeper the mystery became. That was the moment everything changed. That's when the scientific community erupted. When the first reports were shared inside NASA's briefing rooms, the atmosphere was electric. Some scientists leaned forward in disbelief, whispering that it must be a calibration problem, some overlooked error in Webb's sensitive gold-plated mirrors. Could it be a data glitch? One astronomer asked, almost pleading for a simple explanation that would let them close the case. But the numbers didn't waver. Independent teams in Europe, Asia, and South America confirmed the same anomaly using Webb's different instruments, each one layering certainty on top of uncertainty. Soon, the whispers turned into a storm. On one side were the skeptics, veterans who had spent their careers guarding against false alarms. They reminded everyone of past incidents where mysterious signals had turned out to be microwave ovens or faulty sensors. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary proof, they insisted, and they demanded patience. Yet across the aisle, others sat in stunned silence, staring at the data like it was a riddle written by the cosmos itself. If this is real, one senior scientist finally said, it's the discovery of the century, maybe even of all centuries. The debate spilled far beyond NASA. International observatories joined in, racing to compare Webb's findings with their own archives. Astrophysicists who had spent years building models of the early universe suddenly found themselves questioning the very foundations of their work. Each voice added fuel to the fire, until the community sounded less like a panel of experts and more like a cinematic courtroom, with every argument raising the stakes higher. But through all the clamor, one haunting question kept echoing. If it wasn't an error, then what was it? The theories came crashing in like waves against a cliff, each one more daring than the last. Some scientists argued for a natural explanation, a never-before-seen type of star system, perhaps a cluster of exotic suns burning in ways our physics can barely describe. Others whispered about the possibility of dark matter playing tricks on the light, bending it into shapes that mimicked impossibility. But those answers, while comforting, didn't erase the sheer strangeness of what Webb had captured. Then came the more unsettling possibility that this wasn't just a galaxy, but a structure so ancient it predated our very models of cosmic evolution. If true, it meant the universe had been building complexity far earlier than anyone thought possible. It would force textbooks to be rewritten, theories of cosmic history torn apart and reassembled, and of course, in the margins of scientific journals and the louder corners of the internet, a wilder speculation emerged. Some claimed the object resembled not a natural formation at all, something engineered in artificial megastructure, perhaps evidence of intelligence on a scale so vast it defied imagination. Most experts dismissed the idea as science fiction, yet even their denials carried a nervous edge. Because the strangest part was this: every explanation only deepened the puzzle. The universe had laid a riddle at humanity's feet, and just as debates raged on, Webb's gaze shifted again, and then Webb detected something else. Just as debates over the first anomaly were reaching a fever pitch, Webb's instruments returned with something even stranger. In another sector of the sky, light years away from the original detection, the telescope picked up a second anomaly, eerily similar to the first. At first, scientists thought it was coincidence, the universe tossing them another curveball in its endless chaos. But then came the third and the fourth. Each detection carried the same signature, the same impossible traits echoing across vast distances of space. Suddenly, what had seemed like a one-off mystery began to look like a cosmic pattern. It was no longer just one anomaly. It was a trail, like breadcrumbs scattered across the darkness of the universe. And as Webb's gaze widened, it was as if the telescope was sketching a hidden map, connecting points of light that no one had ever linked before. The images revealed alignments across unimaginable scales, galaxies and structures positioned in ways that defied randomness. It was like zooming out on a puzzle and realizing the pieces were forming a design far bigger than anyone had expected. The tension in the scientific community snapped from cautious skepticism to outright alarm. Would challenge the very foundation of cosmology. Were these echoes of some unknown force shaping the universe? Could it be evidence of structures so vast they stretched across cosmic history? Or though no one wanted to say it aloud, was it something else entirely? Something that hinted at intention? The Webb telescope wasn't just showing humanity deeper into the universe. It was hinting at order where there should have been chaos, patterns where there should have been randomness. And if this pattern was real, it might mean the universe is not what we think it is. If the first detection had shaken astronomy, the emerging pattern threatened to rewrite it completely. Textbooks that had stood unchallenged for decades suddenly looked fragile, their neat diagrams of cosmic evolution unable to contain what Webb was showing. Theories about the birth of galaxies, the timeline of the early universe, even the fundamental assumption that randomness shaped the cosmos all of it now sat on a fault line, trembling with the possibility of collapse. For scientists, it was both thrilling and terrifying. The thrill of discovery colliding with the terror of uncharted territory. But this was bigger than academic debate. For humanity as a whole, the implications reached into philosophy, spirituality, and the very idea of our place in the cosmos. If patterns existed where none should be, what did that mean about the universe we inhabit? Were we witnessing natural forces on scales we'd never imagined? Or hints that intelligence, salient or otherwise, had left fingerprints across the stars? Suddenly, humanity felt smaller than ever, and yet more connected to the universe than at any time before. And then there was Webb itself. This telescope, once dismissed by critics as too expensive, too complex, and too ambitious, had just proven it was capable of reshaping not only science, but the future of human exploration. If this is what it could uncover in its first years, what else might it reveal in the decades to come? The question lingers like a warning and a promise. Are we ready for what Webb might reveal next? Because this is only the beginning. The universe has always guarded its secrets in silence, scattering them across gulfs of time and distance so vast that human eyes could never hope to see them. For centuries, we looked up and wondered, piecing together fragments of light, guessing at shapes. in the dark. But now, with James Webb's golden mirrors cutting deeper into the void than ever before, those secrets are finally beginning to stir. The unimaginable is no longer hidden beyond riches standing at the threshold of discovery. And yet, with every answer Webb delivers, new questions rise like shadows behind the stars. If these patterns are real, if these impossible structures exist, what story is the universe trying to tell us? Are we seeing the fingerprints of forces we don't yet understand? Or is this the first faint outline of something greater, something that might redefine what it means to be human in a cosmos? Alive with mystery? One haunting question refuses to fade. What else is out there, waiting for Webb's gaze to uncover? In the silence between signals, in the darkness between galaxies, is there more, far more than we dare imagine? One thing is certain: the age of speculation is giving way to the age of revelation. The unimaginable is no longer science fiction. It's happening right now.